I'm Joe Bevelacqua.
And I'm Brian Cappiello.
This is Preachers in Cars.
Getting coffee.
All right, Preachers in Cars, getting coffee. It is just into the first week of December, second week.
Yeah,
December.
second week, December 9th today.
Yeah, we're in the midst of the holidays. I made a joke and second service lost their mind. I said that men ate too much at their Thanksgiving and they were wearing their wife's maternity clothes. And I think
one was a winner.
Ron in the front row, he goes, uh-oh. And immediately I thought about, not that church. We're not talking about being a weirdo. We're talking about eating too much. And so anyway, whatever. It's after Thanksgiving. It's before Christmas. People are in Shoppingville. They're in Decoratingville. And embracing themselves for
the Christmas music playing
right.
around the clock.
Yep.
The lights are going up. All of that focus is going on Christmas. As you go into this, I was thinking about this, Pastor Joe.
Yeah.
As you're going into this season where there's a lot of other activities and family get-togethers and busyness, it seems like when you ask anybody how they're doing, busy.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
How are you strategizing, managing those ebbs and flows to keep your peace during the holiday season?
Well, that's the thing. It's a tension to manage. It's not going to go away. So I was talking with someone in between services, and this lady was a greeter at the door, and she was saying, hey, going through family drama, whatever. And she cited the fact that, well, I know you guys have your own. And so Kai had a small group and talked to these women about just, we have our own family things. We have there's family drama, there's busyness, and so I hope it doesn't
surprise. You're telling me a pastor's life isn't perfect.
Right. Hope it doesn't surprise anybody to know that we deal with variables like anyone else, and it's super busy. I mean, there's a lot going on. In fact, honestly, it's a little disorienting. And so I have had to just take moments and slow down and talk things out with Kaya, talk things out with the staff. Okay, what are we doing again? How is this going to play together? Can we talk about the details? I don't want to get caught in a spot where, slowing down and opening up the lines of communication. I think that would really help. But it starts with realizing it's a tension to manage, and that people who, I don't know who has nothing going on during the holidays. I just don't know them. Maybe they're out there. I don't know who they are.
I don't know if I've ever met them.
No, there's a lot. And so when you're shopping, don't lose your Christian witness when you're inside the stores. And that includes not just with cashiers, but your family, your kids. And I get it, your kids are bonkers excited, and that excitement, it just, let's shame the devil. It's annoying sometimes. It's a lot. It's intense. There's an intensity to the excitement. Don't crush them. Don't give them something to talk about in therapy when they're in their 30s. And so, just be patient. Slow down. Talk it out. And if you end up doing less because you spent more time talking about it, I think that if you can survive the holidays and have any remnants of your Christian witness and love in your family, that's the win. Because what you're trying to do, don't forget the goal here, is have a great Christmas and have a great Christmas morning, and have a great celebration and welcome people in. But it seems like everybody has a company party and the school pageant and so what we just have to do is slow down, be patient, take your time, don't get in a car accident, and it's going to be an exercise in patience in it all, because it is super busy.
Yeah. I thought about this too. Something that Naya and I put into practice when we got married was communicating boundaries, kind of establishing and having that conversation together. Hey, what do we want? What do we envision for our family? And making some of those decisions first, and communicating some boundaries. Because I was talking to a couple at church. They just got married this year. And they were talking to me on Sunday about how they feel like they're getting and going to continue to get railroaded by their family, where they got to be at all 4 Christmases, and then they got this activity over here, and they feel this pressure to be at everything, sacrifice their own life to make everybody else happy. And ultimately, you could just tell it was eating them up.
I really feel for the young 20, mid 20 somethings, even late 20 somethings that have parents that are divorced, especially if it's on both sides, because they've got 4 parties. And that can be so challenging because all of those parents want to provide a Christmas. And being a child of divorced parents, I'll just tell you, they all want to give the Christmas that they feel like they robbed you.
Right.
In some way, they feel like, well, it wasn't always how it should have been because we got a divorce. And so they feel like they have to make up for it. And I have family that want to do the same thing. And what I've decided is this. I've just communicated where I'm at. So we have a family member that wanted to provide a Christmas. And what we had to say was, okay, this week before Christmas, really, it feels like Christmas to you. I work at a church.
Yeah.
So you're like, well, aren't you going to celebrate the holidays? I am the holidays.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm putting it on for everybody.
I'm putting it on for everybody. And then I've got to celebrate. And so the week of Christmas is not a great week to celebrate Jack. In fact, we do our Elves Night Out way early in December because we want to get that not out of the way in a negative way, but also not interfere with company parties and things like that.
Yeah,
and so
that's right.
it's a whole thing, right? And so I've communicated that, and that hurt their feelings. And I've just decided that that's okay. Because the Bible says that when you get married, that you should leave your mother and father and cleave to your wife.
Right.
Now, that doesn't mean that you don't go to family's house to celebrate, and chiefly if they're willing to do it at another time. We had somebody rent out the church for an event, and what they did was they brought all sides of the family together, all four, so to speak, to sit down at a massive table, and we're all going to eat together. We're all going to open gifts. We're going to smile pretty, and we're going to get along.
Good way to do it.
And that way you can go back to your families, because some of these parents, especially those that got a divorce, and I'm not casting shade on you, whatever. Hope you repented. Hope you moved on. If you're married now, make that the last one, okay? But the idea being, you don't need to make up for lost childhood. You don't need to have this massive thing, and you need to realize the plight of your kids, especially if they're married. Why don't we not put more pressure on them in their marriage? Why don't we encourage them? No, you have it there. Why don't you host? Why don't you? Or hey, we're having it on Christmas. I understand if you can't make it on that day, we can have another day. We could also have it after Christmas. And it does not have to be the massive thing with the turkey. Honestly, it can be getting together and having a bologna sandwich, because if we remember that it's about Jesus and his birth, and really then we as a family are getting together on all of that, that's the win in my mind, really. And so sometimes you have to have hard conversations with parents, and it can be really deflating when you do it. So I'm going to say this: handle that with a lot of grace and understanding and patience and firmness.
Yeah, how do you go into that, setting boundaries, having what for a lot of people is a difficult conversation, and still honor your mother and father? Because some people think if I set a boundary, I'm dishonoring them.
Okay, so the Bible says, children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. But it says to all of us, including the 50-year-old child, right, so to speak, the issue of those parents, to honor them. So it doesn't matter what age you're at, you need to honor your father and mother. But it talks about children obeying. And even moms and dads mess this up because they have a hard time parenting their 20-year-old because they think that their 20-year-old needs to obey them. No, really, by the time that they're 15, 16, 17, you've already set pace. Not that they don't need adjustments, but really what you're looking to do is have a conversation and ask questions. This is a whole conversation about parenting, I will tell you. But as far as if you're in your 20s and 30s, your parents, honoring them does not look like obeying everything that they think. And that will not go over well if they think the opposite at first. But if you stick to your guns, in God's good time, they'll see the value of it if you do it well. And so a lot of pressure on you. And so I'm not saying that you need to talk to them first before you decide your values and your boundaries. You need to talk to your spouse first. And then, perhaps before you put down the hard line, hear what they have to say and some ideas, and reserve the answer to whatever that conversation would be with your parents for the review that you would have with your spouse. So in other words, you might say, listen, we can't do 4 parties on Christmas Day. We're not going to enjoy it. They're going to be gratified that we're there, but honestly, we're not even going to make them happy with that because we're only going to be there for a couple minutes. What do you want to do? I'd love it if we only went to hours in the morning and then we went to one other or 2 others maybe. And maybe it's important that you go to 2. However, your spouse might want to go to all 4. In which case, I think that you need to have hard conversations with your spouse and try to pull back expectations, because trying to make everyone else happy is the key to misery.
Yeah.
You can't make them all happy.
Yeah.
And if you think by making them all happy with your approval addiction that you're going to somehow be gratified on that day, no, you're going to wear yourself out and your spouse out. So you talk to your spouse, then maybe you don't have to talk to your parents, see where they're at, go back and review, and then say, okay, this is where we're at. You also could just talk to your spouse, be like, I hate that. We're driving all over the place. Okay. If you hate it, say, we're not doing it. We're going to go to one person's house. And then if you'd like to meet up after Christmas, maybe before Christmas, if it hits our schedule well, these are the days we have, but we'd love to come over.
Yeah.
But it's not about presents. It's not about turkeys. It's about Jesus. And then if we can come together and celebrate that together, that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I would think that if I was in my early 20s, thank God I'm not. Thank God I'm not. There's 2 awkward seasons, I think, in everyone's life. It's middle school and your young 20s. And
Figuring stuff out.
yeah, there's a lot, right, for different reasons. But I think that would be what I would go for.
Yeah, from 20 to 28, I've learned quite a bit of that. I didn't always do it well. I think what we did this year with my family was one of the better years, where we said, hey, Christmas Day, and we communicated this over a month in advance. Said, hey, Christmas Day is going to be for our family, and then we're going to be going to the Bevelacquas in the afternoon.
Because you're smart.
Because I'm smart.
That you have to do that. That's not a boundary you can break. That's my house.
It's what we want to do.
Right,
And
yes.
I said, Mom, the 26th is available for you. I said, you can schedule whatever you'd like on the 26th. We have that day open. We want to spend time with you. And then to my dad, I said, hey, this Saturday on the 28th, we have this time where we want to spend it with you. Schedule what you'd like to schedule, and we'll leave that open for you. And we just let them know on the front end. It's not that you're less important. It's you're so important. We want to do this well, communicate this well, do it in advance.
Yeah, and lest our viewers and podcast listeners think that I'm a narcissist, your father-in-law, your wife's side is all at our house.
Yeah,
your sister-in-law,
It's
not me
thing,
being like, you're coming to my house, So, but yes, I mean, there's one side of the family there, there's other sides. And, I think that it's a very honoring thing. If they want you to come over, that you should make time. It'd be a very rare thing if a family could not make any time for their extended family. But it's got to be when it's really going to count, and that's when you're going to enjoy it the most. And that's the idea. They want you to enjoy it.
Yes.
But they're also coming to terms when you're a young 20-something on the fact that you're not their little boy, little girl, anything. And so it can be a jarring time for parents. So be patient, be sweet, be honoring in that way, and you can both be respectful and very sweet and firm.
Yeah, that's good.
And I give you permission if no one else will.
Well, I'll tell you, the one thing we had to say no to this year, just no, was going up to the UP.
Right.
I don't have 5 days to do it. I can't. I'm sorry, but I'm going to keep Christmas about Jesus, and we got some stuff going on where I don't make church the heavy, but it's like my life, I'm focused on reaching people. We have these outreaches, and I'm not going to give that up because I want to be at home for 5 days. So how do these families, when there's so much going on, what are some ways that they can focus and intentionally keep Christmas, this season, about Jesus, keep the main thing the main thing?
Okay, so you're celebrating Jesus' birthday. His advent into this world was ultimately a path that led to a cross, his death, burial, and resurrection. And on ascent, he's telling his disciples, I'm building my church. You go into all the world.
Yes.
And so, if you think you're going to actually, as a Christian, if you're born again, I guess I can only say to those people, if you're born again, you think that you can enjoy Christmas and not have church be at the center of that. You're talking about buddy Jesus, and you're not talking about the Jesus that was born in a manger in Bethlehem. And so this is not just Christmas Eve. It's also realizing that there's going to be busyness, there's going to be parties, there's going to be whatever, and you don't let them encroach on church. Let's just say that you're traveling. That's awesome. Here's what I always say, is that when I'm on vacation, if I have to travel, if I'm going out of state, if I'm going to the east side, or if I'm going south or north, or to the UP as it were, and you decide to do that, that's awesome. You need to go to church even when you're making those type of trips, even if your extended family does not do that.
That's right.
And it's because
Do we believe this or not?
Exactly. Do we believe this or not?
Yeah.
And showing your kids that, I'm telling you, you want to make a statement to your kids. And you might not feel super spiritual, right? It might even be a real inconvenience for you to do that. You do that, you're going to communicate so much to your family, and it will help center all of you. And, there's nothing like, I dropped off my kids in a kids' church in North Carolina one time. They're coming back and they're talking about Jesus, talking about the Bible. They're teaching me things, and I'm thinking, this is so good. This is working for me, not against me. And so, listen, we're doing Christmas Eve. They need to be at Christmas Eve. You need to come to at least one of the services. I would even say, if you can come and serve one, you're going to make a statement to your whole family that's so powerful. And the idea is, with services like Christmas, is that people get born again. People find their way back to Jesus on these holidays. And that's what it's all about. That's what we want. That's what we're doing all this work for. And so my encouragement would be, keep Jesus at the center, keep church at the center. Also, there's outreaches.
That's right.
So, if you have the time and you're not blitz driving yourself nuts at Walmart, Target, everything in between, Marshall's, Ollie's is my favorite, by the way.
Hey, good stuff, cheap.
Good stuff, cheap. Ollie's. I don't know if Ollie is still alive, but that dude needs to come to New Chapel.
Yes.
You'd love it. And if his kids are alive, I've officially welcomed you to come to New Chapel. Ollie's, good stuff, cheap. This podcast not brought to you by Ollie's.
No, but we like
But
it.
I am bringing you Ollie's as my great Christmas
Get
gift.
on Alpine, no, we don't do it.
What are we talking about? Okay, so if you have the time, you should come do one of the outreaches. I'm telling you, I think about Shane's store, and she brought Savannah, and they've done it for the last several years. That's so good for your teenager to help pack gifts.
Yep.
It's so good for your young person to see those type of things. And why are we doing this, Mom? We got a lot to do. Or why are we doing this? You're so busy. We're doing this because, listen, we are going to not make this all about us. We're going to make it about Jesus. And some people, some kids, they don't have any gifts. And we're packing all these gifts up.
Yes.
We're going into these mobile home communities, apartments, and the like, right? We're giving these gifts out. And I'm just telling you, we're showing the love of Jesus in a material way.
That's right.
And I had very modest Christmas when I was growing up. I remember one in particular that my mom got me a great snowsuit that I still have. And I was 13 when I got it, and found out it was from a charity in Rockford. It still exists too, by the way. And on the back of it, it said sample. But like, think about it. Some corporation, you've got Wolverine and you got other manufacturers around. They donated it to this place, and this place packed up things so that my mom could give me Christmas. And so I love the fact that we get to provide Christmas to other people who don't have it.
Yeah.
And we showed the love of Jesus. My mom was not this vibrant Christian lady. My they believed in Jesus, but like my mom and dad, it wasn't like that. And yet I'm in ministry. I'm serving God. And I think the strength of all of that was my mom dropped me off, being an alcoholic and drug addict, dropped me off at my grandma's and made sure I went to church. Oh my gosh, I had this constant milestone of church. And so, little life hack for those parents out there, you might not know everything about doctrine. You can really parent better than you think by making sure they're in the house of God, do some outreaches.
Yeah.
I think it makes a difference.
Well, we were talking before we started recording about a young child who I filled in. I just jumped into the preschool classroom, so I wanted to connect with the kids for a moment this last Sunday. And there's this little girl who, I know their family, they're not having these conversations at home, most likely. I don't know that for a fact, but I said, what are we learning about today? And they said, Jesus. And I said, what's your favorite thing about Jesus? And this 3-year-old girl says, she looks at me and she says, I love how he died on the cross for our sins. I thought, wow, at 3, 4 years old, just they're at church every Sunday, and she can articulate that Jesus died on the cross for our sins. I thought that's awesome. That's why we're doing this.
That is, and it's the same thing for my kids that it is for your kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I think about Harvey, and she's gonna be given a little Bible, and she's gonna kiss the Bible
Yes.
and hug the Bible, right? And so those things happen, and it's helping. And so here's the encouragement: is we're in the middle of holidays, in the fog of holidays. Keep Jesus at the center.
Amen.
Stay faithful to church. Be patient. Be patient with your extended family.
Yes.
Take them along on the journey. Have boundaries. Don't wear out your nuclear family, especially those of you that are newlyweds. Listen to me now. Don't wear yourself out trying to please everybody. I don't know what the key to success is, but the key to failure is trying to please everybody. And you're gonna have a great Christmas. And so this is a short one. I think it's good that it's short. People are busy, but stay tuned to this. Like, subscribe, send questions
to connect@newchapel.com.
Yeah, and that informs so much of what we talked about today. So
That's right.
keep them coming, and so make sure that you share this with somebody else as well. Help get the word out. I'm Joe Bevelacqua.
I'm Brian Cappiello.
This is Preachers in Cars Getting Coffee.